Welcome back to the Today with Tally podcast. Folks, we have a great show in store for you today. We sit down with a Fleet Marine Force Devil Doc. This guy has literally been around the world and back, and he doesn't know it yet, but this is going to be the Veterans Day special. We got Veterans Day coming up here really soon, and with that, we are honored to be joined by U.S. Navy combat veteran Bradley Bennett. How are you, sir? And with that, we are honored to be joined by Bradley Bennett, a.k.a. Devil Doc. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. You know, I haven't told you this yet, but I want to call this the Veterans Day special. Yeah, look, we're days away from Veterans Day, and you are a very special veteran out there, one of many, and so I just want to say congratulations, you are the Veteran Day special.
Well, thank you.
Yes, sir, of course, man. You know, you served some time in the Navy. You were attached to the Fleet Marine Force, right?
Yep.
Tell me about it.
So I joined the Navy. I went to my first command was a clinic. Or it was a hospital. My second command was FMF, Fleet Marine Force with 1-9. And then I went to a clinic after that.
What was your best experience in the military? Was it the clinic side or was it the grunt side?
Oh man, I don't know. I liked doing the grunt side better, but I think I had worse experiences on the green side. I don't know though. I had some pretty bad experiences in the hospital too, so it's hard to say.
All right. Say you're drinking a beer around a campfire with some good old buddies talking about when you served. Where are the stories gonna come from?
That's gonna come from the green side, man.
Of course. Okay, so there you go. So you had your time was with the Marine Corps, dude, and it wasn't in the hospital. You're not gonna be like, well, when I was, pushing a patient down hallway G going to the north end of the hospital. No, it's gonna be like, yeah, we were fucking dug in and freaking, Fallujah, and you know what I mean? Boom, you know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much, man. My first deployment was to Kuwait, but I was that was before I even went greenside, and I remember just trying to get over there, man. And they just wouldn't let me.
So the Marines you served with, how would you describe them?
They're great guys, man. I served in an infantry unit, so it was only male. We didn't get to see very many females over there. So all male, all infantry, all Marine Corps, man. Those guys, they're really, really good guys. They'd do anything for you. They like messing with you, though.
Mm-hmm. The doc is always like treasure, in the Fleet Marine Force. Every Marine respects the Devil Doc. It's especially in garrison, because you got the IV bags, and you get those Marines crawling back into the barracks at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. You got PT in an hour and a half, and they're still drunk, and they need some sort of IV to get them through the day. And boom, there's Doc.
Yep. I'll get it in one stick, only that.
Yeah. Hey, man, we gotta make this. We gotta save some for everybody here, right?
Yeah.
Puff, give, right? No, so, what's life like now? How long you been out of the out of the Navy?
I've been out probably about 13 years. About 13 years, so. Probably it's like 2012 was like my active end date, and then my reserve end date after that I think was like 2015. But I mean, from active, yeah, because the reserves wasn't very much. I went on the same boat that I was on deployment. I went on when I was in the reserves, It's kind of a funny story too, because like I got on the boat and got off the boat without anybody even knowing that I was there, I guess. Because my command was like, "Why didn't you show up to your annual training?" And I was like, "Dude, I was on the boat for 2 weeks."
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, life's okay right now. You know, I mean, I'm just going through it. I experienced a lot of stuff through these last 6 months. I just had a surgery. Before that, I was like just in just some bad days, man.
What do you mean by? Okay, so what was your surgery on?
I had a surgery on my neck. So I had a surgery. My last surgery was a disc replacement. So they replaced 2 discs, and then that ended up collapsing, and there was like bony growth and stuff on the discs, and so they went back, and for about 6 months I was up in pain and I couldn't do anything, and then they finally did the surgery. They did a fusion on I think 3 levels, and now I'm doing all right.
What do you mean it collapsed?
I don't know. That's what they said. I guess it's supposed to hold it at a certain like tightness or whatever, like elevate your neck at a certain point. And I guess that collapsed, so it was just kind of like compressed again, and yeah, so it was kind of crazy times.
I would have to say that that's fairly painful. I know I've been through my own share of neck and back surgeries, but having that collapse, what was that pain like?
Dude, it was horrible for like 6 months too, and I know I had to leave work, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even do family stuff, dude. I was just like rocking back and forth in my chair all day, just trying to get out of pain. And yeah, and it was terrible. You know, like a lot of people weren't listening, and you know, it wasn't like an urgent thing. And whenever I'd go like to the ER, like a week straight, I went to the ER, and like they couldn't do anything. All they gave me was meds and was like, "Hey man, like you need the surgery." I'm like, "Well, I know I need the surgery, but it's not happening."
So did you end up going to the VA, or were you being seen in the civilian hospitals?
It was kind of both. The guy who did the surgery before this one, he was not in the VA. Well, I mean, he was in the VA network. And then this guy was also in the VA network, but he did it on the outside. He went over to a different hospital. And so a lot of it's been through the VA, and some of it's been through community care.
How would you rate the care that you received?
Oh, dude. Terrible. It took me, because I went back to that first surgeon that I had the surgery done, the one that collapsed. And I kept going back to him because I'm like, hey, there's something wrong. And nothing ever got done with that. I went to the VA and told him nothing ever got done. I even went to an orthopedic specialist, and he was like, well, I only deal with shoulders. So I'm like, okay. So, you know, it was just really hard. And I remember, so there was this one time that I remember very fondly, because when I woke up out of an ablation, I had an ablation maybe a couple months before my surgery. I had an ablation, which is like burning the nerves, and so you don't feel that pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up from that in the surgery center, and it felt like something was like sticking out of my neck, and like it hurt really bad. I was like yelling in pain, and I don't yell anything. I don't yell in pain, you know. I'm just like yelling in pain. I'm like, dude, just put me back under. And they were just like, yeah, whatever, just go home, you know, just go home. And no, like, dude, I can't. And they were telling my wife, they were like, oh, you just need to go home and take some muscle relaxers. And I was like, nah, dude. And then me and my wife got up and went to the ER, and we filed a complaint later, and they were like, well, it's a good thing that we got you to the ER since you were in so much pain. And I'm like, dude, like, no, you didn't. I don't know. It was bad.
Where did the ball get dropped? Did it get dropped between the VA and the civilian hospital, or where did the communication break down?
Dude, I don't even know. I just think that it's the doctors. I think that they just either they didn't believe me that it was happening, or they didn't believe that it was that bad, because it didn't seem like there was any urgency at all. And then once I got up to the surgery, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you have bony overgrowth on the discs, you have metal debris, it's like, dude, like why didn't we do this 6 months sooner? I would have still been working."
So, see, and this is the stuff that just never ceases to amaze me, because I hear these stories far too often, and coming in from all over the country. So it's not just one region. But it's always the same similarities. Like, I needed emergency medical care and I never got it. I needed surgery and I never got it. It was 6 months down the road. It was 9 months down the road. It was a year later. In your case, 6 months. And then once they opened you up, they found all these surprises. Wow, he's got bony overgrowth. He's got metal just chilling in there, fragments. You've got a collapsed a disc, or whatever that was in there from the first surgery, stacked on top of one another, and you're in here battling all this severe pain. I'm sure the pain must have caused some sort of issues within your family. I mean, you said you were out of work, right?
Yeah. I had to leave my job. I went on to medical leave, and because I couldn't do it anymore. I spent the last couple of days at work. I spent with my head on the desk because I was hurting so bad. And so
you couldn't even hold yourself up.
Well, I could, but it was just that it was so bad that like I had to lay down, because like I would get like nauseous. I would like just be like sitting there like, oh, I'm getting nauseous. So then I would just lay my head down and just hope it went away,
So for 6 months, you sat in a chair doing everything you could to stave off this pain.
Yeah. Between trying to not be in pain and trying to get the surgery done, because I knew that I needed it, it was terrible. You get loss of family time, loss of work, money. I mean, all of it.
I understand that all too well, how things can stack up on a man, your finances, your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health, breakdown of communication, friends, families, relationships. Pain changes people. When you were sitting in your chair, Bradley, what were you thinking of every day? Were you thinking of the time lost? Were you thinking about your military service? What were you thinking? Did you ever have any thoughts go through your head that were either positive or negative?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of negative. I mean, I didn't know if the pain was ever going to go away. I was just at that point where like that kind of like getting into that isolation, depression kind of stuff, and good stuff too. I thought about the things that me and the family would do after I'm not in pain, and I thought about going back to work, and I thought about like home projects that I can do. Like I put my shelf up. I got my shelf up now, so I did a home project that like I was thinking about while I was over there, But so I'm in a few positives, but yeah. A lot of negative.
So the positives are awesome. That's something that a lot of veterans out there need to know, that there is end in sight from these storms, even though it seems as if they're going to last a lifetime. Mm-hmm. At some point they will end. And I really like how you said, you know what, when I was going through some of the worst times of my life, when it came to the pain and me not even being able to work anymore and just sitting in this chair, and you thinking, you know what, when I get better, I'm going to spend a lot more time with my family because I've missed so much. I've missed 6 months of, going to my kids' events or, spending quality time with them after work and, just participating in the day-to-day operations of a family. Right. But, instead you're in a room, you're battling, probably some anxiety. You're battling depression because those all go hand in hand with physical pain. Now, some of the negative side effects, please, if you wouldn't mind talking about that.
Like negative side effects of like the depression and all that, or the negative side effects of the pain.
Yeah. Just, like your thoughts, like what is going through the mind of a veteran sitting in a chair that's waiting 6 months for a surgery?
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I was just kind of bummed out, man, because you can't do anything. You know that if the pain wasn't there, you could do it, but you couldn't do it. So it was like having to like give up everything. Because then you're like, okay, well, I can't do anything. I can barely get up. Without hurting like that bad. And so like you think about the things that you can try to do, but yeah, there's just nothing there, man. And you. Like I kept telling my wife, I was like, I'm sorry that I'm useless, because I'm just like, it was bad, man. Like I just getting into that frame of mind is just not good. Start thinking about projects or start thinking about the family,
and exactly what you just said, like, hey, I'm useless, because, men are very prideful and, we're providers. And when you can't do anything and when you're self-isolating and you're not working and providing for the family with the paycheck every week and with your love and affection and your just presence being there, that's a lot to take out on a man. And I can only imagine how those feelings were of emotion and despair when you were sitting in that chair. Did your family support you? Were they supportive of you throughout this process?
Yeah, they were super supportive. My wife helped me out a ton. I mean, she was basically my caregiver, and which is funny because the VA denied her caregiver anyway. So, like my brother would come over and help me mow the lawn, and my mom would help take care of the kids and all that. So. Yeah, it was very supportive. I don't know how I would have done it without him,
Well, you're very lucky. I get a lot of emails and calls from veterans that are lonely. Mm-hmm. They don't have anybody. They're either divorced or, they don't have any kids or they're widowed or, whatever it may be. So things could always, be worse, of course. But when you were going through all this, was there ever any case of like, did you ever think that there could be medical malpractice here or medical negligence because of how long you had to wait to get this surgery?
I thought so. I thought a lot of the stuff that they did on purpose was because they were trying to teach me a lesson medically. And I think that that's what they were doing, because I've seen that a lot. I think that what they were doing was putting things off or not giving me the right care because they thought that I was just a faker or a pill seeker coming in. And so they just treated me like crap. It was, I don't know. That's what it felt like to me.
But I mean, an MRI image doesn't lie.
Yeah. But the thing about the discs is when you take the MRI, then there's artifacts, and so they can't really see they can't see into the actual like disc space. But the problem is when they kept doing the testing and nothing was coming out, I ended up paying out of pocket, and I went over to a guy, and he, like, the first thing that he did was he put weights in my hands and took an X-ray, a weight bearing X-ray. And then he was like, yep, that's your problem, because your discs are sliding in and out, or not sliding in and out, but like allowing my vertebrae to like kind of go back and forth. So
Is that when the gel, if you will, starts to?
Yeah, well, they were metal disc or aluminum, I guess. So like they'd be on top of each other like this, and like whenever I would like move my neck back, it would like push my vertebrae out. So it was tugging on all those nerves.
Yeah. And
so it took him one time, just one test to see what was going on after about 2.5 years of trying to figure out what was going on.
So basically this boils down to lack of empathy and lack of caring.
I think so.
And we see so much of that in our medical system these days. And really, and it's not just in the VA. I mean, this is in the civilian world too. I mean, doctors are inundated with patients these days. There's patients coming in from all over the place. And then we have a lot of folks in this country that aren't even from the United States that are using the hospitals. And so it just stacks up. And so it creates longer wait times and, perhaps 6 months to wait for a surgery for a guy who needs it like today. And, unfortunately, the medical system has gone completely, it's lost. I mean, I'm here in Houston and, it's the land of hospitals. I mean, literally, like this is the Mecca in the world for hospitals. And still, I know guys that can't be seen for a while because everybody from the world comes here for surgeries, for, you name it, diseases, cancers, all sorts of stuff. So I can only imagine, you being, in a smaller town, right? You live in small town America, basically.
Yeah. I live small town Nebraska. Yep. And I don't know if maybe that's part of my problem. Maybe these rural doctors, they don't care as much. But I mean, I did see a couple of good doctors. It's just the ones that I kept getting referred to weren't. Maybe it wasn't even so much the doctors as it was the staff. Maybe it was the staff that was telling them the certain things. I don't know.
Hey, Brian Talley here with the Today with Talley podcast. Are you looking to advertise with the podcaster? Why not be me? We will help take your business to the next level, folks. It's easy to do. All you got to do is go to briantalley.com. That's briantalley.com. We have 3 packages. We work with any budget, folks. We have the bronze, the silver, and the gold packages to work with you. We work with any budget. If you want to be a show sponsor, contact me, briantalley.com. I look forward to working with you and your business. Now, back to the show. Being in the medical field yourself for your whole life, basically, or at least a good half of it, were you able to advocate for yourself, saying, look, I am a Fleet Marine Force Devil Doc. I am Doc, and I can kind of know what's going on in my body, and I can probably self-diagnose myself. Did any of your training or expertise in the medical field help you while advocating, or were you just in too much pain to even open your mouth?
I did try the advocating thing. I mean, like I said, before this 6 months of pain, I was trying to figure out, because I had pain for about 2 years after the surgery, but it wasn't until about the 6 month mark where it got to the point where I was out of work and all that. But I tried to advocate for myself, and it almost seemed like it made it worse, because I would be like, yeah, like it's not this, and I think this is going on, and whatever else. And then it's almost like the nurses would like get annoyed at that. I think like they always say like nurses are like the worst patients. So I think I don't know if they were getting annoyed or if they're just like, I don't want to deal with this guy or whatever. But like it really did seem like, because when you're in the medical field, like like the certain things that happen.
Yeah.
So like it's like getting a Toradol shot without lidocaine, like that kind of stuff. Where you're like, I know that you're trying to teach me a lesson, but I don't understand why you're trying to do it. And that's where I'm kind of like, yeah. I think a lot of it was on purpose, and it's just, and being able to advocate for yourself while you're in that much pain. I mean, at that point, it was pretty much shot, but I tried to years before.
I guess I would have a hard time understanding why they would try to teach you a lesson.
So it's like, okay, so say you have a guy, say you have a Marine, and this Marine, this Marine, he gets, say like he gets like chlamydia like 4 or 5 times. And so you're like, okay, well, let's teach him a lesson. And so that next time maybe he won't do it, Then you say, okay, well, this Rocephin shot, you mix with lidocaine. So if it's like your first time, second time, you give him some lidocaine to, just numb it and so that it doesn't hurt that much. Like the 4th, 5th, 6th time, then you give him Rocephin without the lidocaine and you let him feel it, to try to like deter from going off and doing that again. So like that's the kind of stuff that where I know those plays. So it's like when you give like a Toradol shot without lidocaine, or you do like certain things with the IV, or you do like that kind of stuff. It's almost like you're teaching the patient a lesson, like don't come in here to just pill seek, or don't come in here, acting like you're in pain, and that's what it felt like to me.
That's a broken system, 100%.
Yeah.
Where did a lot of the brokenness come from? Did it come more from the VA, or did it come more from the civilian sector?
I think it was just both, really. I mean, it was weird. It was like I couldn't get help. Is what I felt like. I don't like I had to pay out of pocket to get out of that system, out of their community care and all that. I had to pay out of pocket to go see somebody that charged a lot of money because they were good, And I don't understand, like even a mediocre doctor could have seen what was going on with me. So why did it take me 6 months to get a surgery?
I mean, just that much care is all it takes to sit down with a patient, talk to them for 15 minutes, look at an MRI, and diagnose, treat, and schedule. It doesn't seem that difficult to me. And I know we have a lot of similarities, between my story and your story. And this should never happen in the United States of America, waiting 6 months for a surgery that they knew on day 1 needed to be done. And for them to give you the runaround like they did, it's just inconscionable, and it's unacceptable. So veterans out there right now, look, this is a Veterans Day special, right? There's a lot of veterans out there that are struggling. There's a lot of veterans out there that are hurting. There's a lot of veterans out there that are sitting in a chair, that are just going through days of darkness and despair, whether it's from emotional pain, mental pain, physical pain. I think you've experienced all of that. If you had any words of encouragement or any inspiration that you can give these veterans right now, or really just a regular everyday person that may be listening to this, what would it be?
So if there's somebody in a situation like that, I know that there's nothing that I'm going to be able to say that's going to make them feel better. All you got to do is just keep pushing, man. And eventually it's going to get better. It's going to change, or it's going to get better, or something's going to happen to where you're going to be all right. Like I know that they say like the normalcy bias, but I really do think that, time heals all wounds, and you just got to keep moving forward as best as you can.
So how are you doing today?
Pretty good. I'm starting to get back into my normal life kinds of things, and I got to strengthen up my neck and stuff. That gets pretty sore. So it's like a workout, just like standing in the doorway is a workout, So, just recovering pretty good, but it's going a little slow and just kind of down there.
I know how you feel. We could be pain battle buddies.
Yeah.
Man. Well, Bradley, thank you so much for joining us today. You're welcome on the program anytime. And if there's anything that we can help you do, advocacy wise, just always reach out, man. And I think that's how your family was online. And
Yeah.
I'm always here for the veterans, man. I know there's so many out there that are out there hurting and trying to go through, these days, of just making it through it, through these days, because so many folks are being ignored. I hope that the system can be right one day, and folks like you can get the treatment that they need in a timely manner, because you never know. I mean, it could have been, like an infection in your neck. You could have died or something, sepsis.
Yep. Pretty much.
All right, man. Is there anything else you want to add out there to the veteran community?
Well, just keep pushing. Keep moving forward.
Well, there you have it, folks. Mr. Bradley Bennett. It is just, it's unfortunate. That's the word I'm going to use right now, unfortunate. And it's disheartening. Unfortunate and disheartening to live in the United States of America and still have so many folks out there suffer every day with pain, to the point to where sometimes you just don't even want to live anymore. The pain's so bad. Handfuls of pills, agony, despair, sitting in a chair, self-isolation, depression, anxiety, the fear of the unknown, the worry, not being able to provide financially. It stacks up. And it's not fair. It's not fair to put somebody through 6 months of this. Why did it take 6 months for him to get a surgery? Delayed, denied care. Not looking after the patient's best interest. These doctors and nurses have an oath. And I'm tired of getting all these emails and all these phone calls and all of these text messages from broken veterans that cannot get care. It's got to end. They're calling me because they can't get the help they need. And then they want to tell me their story. Oh, he'll understand. We have it's not broken. It's shattered. And here we are on our knees picking up the pieces of this shattered glass. You're trying to glue it back together, folks. Go get you some super glue. Because that's our country's hospital system. And it's not just in the VA. It may be better on the civilian side, but it is the whole system itself. And like I was saying, it may be a little bit better on the civilian side, depending on what type of insurance you have and all this. Of course, the more you pay, the better the care you get, right? But the way I look at it is, we're all human beings, and every human being deserves good health care. I'm so tired of hearing the terms, that's a good doctor and that's a bad doctor. There should be no such thing as a bad doctor. I mean, how many times do you have to screw up to be a bad doctor? Think about that one. That's a bad doctor. You hear it all the time. Oh, they screwed my back up. They screwed my my neck up. They committed malpractice or negligence and all this stuff, but yet they're still practicing. Is there a shortage of doctors in the United States? I don't know. Is there? It's got to end, though. The veteran community deserves better. They deserve better. And I know we don't have a lot of days in this country. We're celebrated once a year. But the stories must be told from the veteran community and be relayed from sea to shining sea, so every person out here in America can understand and know what veterans go through on a daily basis in this country. From being homeless and being on the streets, or being a victim like Brad, sitting in his chair and not working for 6 months because he can't get a freaking basic neck surgery to get him back to work. Play games with them. It's got to end, folks. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. It has never been easier to listen to this podcast. We're on Facebook. We're on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. We are on X. That's right. It gets a little spicy over on X. And I don't have a TikTok anymore because I did 1,133 videos in 11 months. I grew. I was growing at a tremendous clip. I was putting out good content. And then they shut me down one day, banned me. Come on. People that know me know that I put out good stuff. And they banned me. Was I passionate? Yes. Did I use foul language? Nope. Not even close. They took away my account. So I had to start all over again on X, because a lot of the stuff I can't put out there on Facebook because they don't like the truth. We are living in a wacky world, folks. All those platforms I just told you, all you got to do is go there, just type in Today with Tally, boom, it'll populate and you got me. Also learn more about me and my personal story over at BrianTally.com. I got a new book out there too, BrianTally.com. I didn't choose this job, it chose me. Very inspirational read, encouraging, never give up. Christmas is coming. You might want to check out a book. Remember, go to BrianTally.com. Folks, remember to stay inspired, stay encouraged, stay motivated, and always stay in the fight. Until next time for the Today with Tally podcast, this is Brian Tally. Good night. Semper Fi. God bless.
This is the Today with Tally podcast.